A doubleheader to start a round. It's what we love. And then we're going to doubleheader tomorrow night as well. This is hoops at its absolute premium here in the NBL as round 11 starts. Melbourne and New Zealand tonight. Very, very interesting contest. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more on Thursday's edition of NBL Now. I'm Jack Heverin. Derek Rucker's in the house. Ruck, good to see you.
These weeks are flying by, Jack, and it's so exciting. And let's get into it.
Just before we dive into it, the theme of the morning, as I say, we are recording Thursday morning. The theme of the morning is Spotify Wrapped. Everyone's having a look at their Spotify most listened to songs of the year and most listened to artists. Have you done yours yet?
I have not, but what would probably be I think I'd be like Rolling Stones or Michael Jackson or something like that.
I just thought yours would have been anything that PJC listens to be.
I might have to go copy and follow him. Good idea.
Hey, I think it's important. We'll get to the games very shortly.
Yeah,
you may as well start with the biggest name in the league, and he's been the biggest name of the week, obviously, in Bryce Cotton and everything that he did last Sunday. Thought he spoke really, really well with Pete Hooley yesterday on NBL Now as well. But there was a little tidbit that kind of caught my attention a little bit. He does a weekly slot with our own Lockie Reed on Channel 10 in Perth, and he said now's not the time to be talking about contracts. And I know there was that post-game clip that you guys showed on Overtime as well of him saying, for however long I'm here and all that sort of stuff. What's your read on all of this? Where do you think this is all heading?
Well, he's consistent, Bryce, and we talk about his character and we know how much of a tremendous player he is. And look, obviously, he likes to keep the money talk and the contract talk in its proper context. He doesn't want to deal with it right now. I'm not sure every player would have the ability or the discipline to conduct themselves in a manner in which Bryce does. He's on fire right now, Jack. Most business people would tell you the time to strike is now after you drop 59 and everyone realizes, oh, wait, this guy is an all-time great. We need to try and retain his services. But Bryce is very measured, he's smart, and he understands I've got a bigger job to do right now, and that's help this team win games. The team hasn't been performing to the standard that we expect, so my focus has got to be on the macro instead of just worrying about Bryce Cotton.
And it's a great answer to that. So to me, and I'm not trying to sort of cause any panic amongst the Red Army or anything like that. We're just watching this from the other side of the country and trying to work it all out. Has it now tipped over the point, if you are the Perth Wildcats, has it now tipped over to the point where it's like, all right, we got to make this happen and we've got to find a way to make it happen and make it happen pretty quickly?
Well, as long as Bryce continues to perform, he stays healthy, he has leverage. Because the global basketball world continues to shrink, and we're probably one of the leaders in being able to testify to that. Look how much the NBL has spread throughout the world in the past 5 to 6 to 7 years. Things that occur here resonate globally. Bryce Cotton's performances, they mean something, and everyone sees these games. Also, Jack, because we're so remote and because of our time difference, a lot of people around the world get to watch our games when nothing else is going on. So I don't know anyone that I know basketball-wise in Australia or around the world that wasn't aware of Bryce Cotton's performance on the weekend.
I think just to wrap this up, if you are another team within this league, you're watching this situation, and just kind of like I just said, that it feels like now's the time for Perth to strike and lock this away. If you're another team, and we don't need to name teams, but it's pretty obvious there are some teams who are going to have a lot of room to move and some that won't have much room to move. If you are one of those teams that have got room to move, this is your power move, and it's sooner rather than later, isn't it?
It's your power move, correct, Jack. But you know what else? You better bring 7 figures per annum.
Yeah,
that's what this guy is worth. He is tremendous value, and it's going to be even at a higher premium because he plays for one of the most outstanding, the most well-branded franchises in Australian sports. So you're going to have to come with some serious moolah to get that guy out of Perth.
I think that should go without saying, especially up to what we saw on the weekend. Well, the Adelaide 36ers, Dejan Vasiljevic is going to miss somewhere between 3 and 6 weeks at this stage with a hamstring. We don't know as yet. They will get Kendrick Davis back for the second part of this round and then Montrezl Harrell the week later. But there's been a little bit of discussion and perhaps some concern from some quarters that the wheels might start to fall off at Adelaide. Do you share those concerns or not?
I think those concerns are predicated on the fact that no one is really sure of the mental makeup of this particular group. And they haven't faced any real adversity up until now. And we never know how a team's going to respond. A lot is going to fall on Kendrick Davis to bring this all together. I think not only because of the way he's been performing, but the fact, Jack, he's the point guard. And the point guard needs to regulate the emotions and the mental status of the group, even more so than the coach can do it. The point guard is out there interacting. He's in the locker room with the guys. So I think as Kendrick comes back and finds his way back into the league, he needs to perform well and he needs to show a lot of leadership, which is a big ask because he's a young man. But without DJ out there, they lose a lot other than just scoring.
So you're okay with them for now?
I think they're going to be okay. That game Sunday against Perth, after they back up against Brisbane, will be a huge indicator, I think, of what's to come. Now, they may win, they may lose, but I just want to watch the body language and the process and how they play rather than focusing so much on the result.
Let's talk tonight. It starts at 5:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, but of course, check the NBL website and NBL socials as always. New Zealand taking on Melbourne. This is a Melbourne team that's now going to be without Chris Goulding for a couple of weeks minimum, possibly more. And Ian Clark is now a game-time decision with a hip injury. So in many respects, Ruck, your mind straight away goes to, well, if Goulding's out, Clark will pick up some of the slack. What happens if Ian Clark doesn't play as well?
Well, I think right now Flynn Cameron is probably getting himself real ready, Jack, to get some buckets. He gets to go down to New Zealand. We know that he is going to be a future member and an impact guy on that national team. Yeah. And he's had an outstanding season, make no bones about it. At sometimes his minutes have been reduced as those other guys stay healthy. But if another team were to lose players of the caliber of Goulding and Clark, there would be a high degree of concern. Now, look, I'm sure Dean Vickerman wasn't sleeping peacefully last night, but he knows that he's got depth on that bench to go to. Tanner Krebs is a very good player. And also the way Melbourne United play, they rally around each other so well. They're well structured on the offensive end. And we know defensively, they're always amongst the league leaders. So this is more of a big game, I think, for New Zealand, who, again, are really banged up. They just can't catch a break over the past 3 to 4 weeks.
Jonah Bolton, the latest addition to that, a calf injury, is going to miss somewhere between 2 to 3 weeks, potentially even more at this stage. Taco 4, we haven't got any sort of significant update on where he's at right now. So all of a sudden, this New Zealand team, Ruck, that they look really small tonight.
They are, and this is where PJC must continue his outstanding performance. But the guy who's kind of tailed off a little bit, Jack, has been Matthew Mooney. He needs a lift again. And I don't mean like in a couple of weeks. I mean tonight. He needs to get it going, be a leader, get out there. They need 20-plus points from him. They need the creativity that he exhibited early in the season. And I think if they do that, we know they like playing against Melbourne United. They demonstrate a game plan and a blueprint that worked earlier in the season. It's going to be a really fascinating ball game.
That game tonight at Wolfbrook Arena as well. The Breakers are on the road all weekend. They play Sydney on Saturday as well as they travel around New Zealand. They're third on the ladder. I want to ask you the same question about New Zealand that I asked you about Adelaide. Are you concerned about where this is heading for the Breakers?
Well, it looked so good just a month ago. Things were so prosperous, and then the injury bug hit them. And because they have lost so many big men, Jack, that's been the thing that's killing them. How can they hold up on the boards? Now, they play Sydney twice in the next few weeks.
Right.
And they're going against a team that I think is bitter and angry and will be ready to get wins because they need them. But, it's hard to go against PJC, isn't it? We've seen what he's capable of doing when he's at his best. So I'm just going to be watching it real closely and to see who else steps up for New Zealand to help PJC.
Now, for Cairns Taipans fans, I'm sure that every time that we jump on NBL Now and we talk injury news, you're probably holding your breath and you're thinking, who have we lost now? We actually come with some good news today as well. That is that Pedro Bradshaw from an ankle injury will return. Kyron Galloway also didn't play last weekend. He will play. Sam Wardenberg looks to be okay after a knock to the head. So this is the first time, Ruck, that the starting five combination of Taron Armstrong, Tanner Groves, Rob Edwards, Bradshaw and Wardenberg will play together since round 3.
That's incredible and really unfortunate for the Taipans fans. But it's interesting because when I looked at that lineup when we were at the Blitz, when I looked at that lineup when we were out in Perth for a Hoops Fest, I didn't love it. Yeah. Then when I saw them perform, I thought, okay, there's some promise in this lineup. Bradshaw started to improve. Rob Edwards was playing really well off of Taron Armstrong, and Groves was effective, and we know Wardenberg is a quality player. Jack, I'm curious to see how quickly Bradshaw comes back to the form that he showed before he got hurt, because he was turning into a very serviceable player. He's good on the defensive end. He's long, and most importantly, he understood his role in Adam Ford's system. But Rob Edwards has got to get back to high-level performance. And if he does that with all the other pieces, Jack, I think they get this game.
Well, it's a big challenge for them tonight. So they play the second game against Tasmania at MyState Bank Arena. Ruck, you and I talk about this incessantly, how hard it is to go to Tasmania and win. Jordon Crawford back in the lineup tonight for Tassie as well.
I'm just worried a little bit about Tasmania's offense. I know they're really good defensively, but I think this is a game that the Taipans can really like in terms of a matchup. And I don't think the Taipans really care where they play. Adam Ford just has them play hard, go out and do their best. So I wouldn't write this game off as necessarily one that the Taipans will get easily.
Doubleheader tonight, doubleheader tomorrow night as well. A lot of hoops coming up in the next 48 hours here in the NBL. Hey, just before we finish, earlier this week you sat down with Pete Hooley on the huddle as part of Heritage Round with thanks to Mitsubishi. And well, we haven't really had a chance to stop down and talk about your career. How did you find it?
I really enjoyed it, Jack. I mean, you know how this business is. You look at yourself sometimes and you just want to cringe. And I'm like, Derek, can you please shut up? Stop it already, dude. But Pete is great. Like, I just don't know how he does it. He carries so many different flags for the NBL media crew, and full credit to him for making me feel comfortable. The interview probably got a bit more transparent than I had anticipated, but I hope everyone enjoyed it. It's real.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's in my browser to listen today. And shout out to Pete as well. He does an outstanding job interviewing. It's not an easy thing to do, and he's a great listener, which I think is a big part of the challenge as being an interviewer. Hey, Ruck, have a great weekend. Where are we seeing you this weekend, please?
I will see you Sunday at John Cain Arena for Melbourne United versus the Brisbane Bullets.
And are you on tomorrow night as well?
I certainly am. Andrew Bogut in the house.
Yes, good luck, Bogues. His first game as part of the NBL commentary team. It's going to be a very interesting listen. Have a great weekend. We've got a lot to talk about tomorrow morning when we come back on NBL Now.